dear friends. Welcome to yet another better podcast with CEOs by Great Place to Work. I'm truly honored today to have as my guest Stavri Morti, co-CEO of XM. And you will know pretty soon why I feel honored to have Stavri as my guest. Stavri, welcome to our podcast. And before we go into the very subject of why you are here, if you don't mind, I'll start with a kind of curiosity question, okay? My impression is that the fintech business is highly male-dominated. Maybe my impression is wrong, maybe it's my biases. So the question is, how does it feel like for Stavri to be leading a fintech organization, big and successful as XM?
Thank you so much for having me, first of all. So that's a very interesting question. I get asked that question a lot, actually.
So I shouldn't feel bad about it.
You shouldn't feel bad about it. And I have to point out that not only am I the co-CEO of the company, but I think 25% of our senior executives are also women.
Okay.
And first of all, it's understandable that in fintech or in finance in general or in engineering in general, it's male dominated.
Okay.
When I did my PhD 20 some years ago, I was the only female out of 14 people.
Okay.
You get used to it.
Okay.
But what makes it work though is finding companies that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what your sex is. It's all about meritocracy. And that's something that carried me in my career.
Okay.
All along, and that's something that we are truly at XM we feel very strongly about.
Yeah.
It's all about meritocracy. If you are excellent at your job, you will succeed. That doesn't mean though that we as a society need to do more to get more women into engineering, into sciences, and into finance, because it starts from school. Because people are intimidated. Because women are very successful in finance.
Yeah.
They're very successful in computer science, but we just have to get more of them to go through the education system.
Okay. And you become very passionate
Absolutely.
saying these things.
Absolutely.
Okay. In fact, I guess you had a very colorful career. I mean, you did a PhD in chemical engineering, and then I think you got into the health sector. And tell us how this journey started and you ended up with XM.
Sure. It's like when you look at the resume, you may not see that there's a pattern, and the pattern leads to where I am now. But I'll start from the beginning. So I do have a PhD in chemical engineering.
Okay.
My thesis was in hemodialysis membranes. I actually have a patent on hemodialysis membranes.
Okay.
So I was employed by one of the biggest global companies called Baxter Healthcare to work in their renal division. It's one thing that and I think it's a message for everybody, is grasp all opportunities. Okay. I had an opportunity to go and be part of a corporate department. It wasn't, at that point, it was at its infancy. They were just thinking, we need to get everybody together from the different divisions to look at opportunities globally. So I volunteered. Okay. So I was there, and that became into the corporate strategy department.
All right.
So there we were looking at acquiring startups in the different areas that Baxter was part of. So that was a natural transition then to decide I want to go get my MBA.
Okay.
So then I was blessed is the right word, to get accepted into the Harvard Business School. So I got my MBA from Harvard. I worked in my summer internship, because when you work in healthcare and you learn to value companies, you actually become a very good financial analyst. Okay. So I worked as a healthcare analyst for my summer internship. And then I moved to London, and I worked at Fidelity for a few years in the healthcare as a healthcare analyst. And then I moved to Cyprus. Yeah. And then I moved to Cyprus. I think everybody at some point, sooner or later, thinks, okay, it's time to go back to Cyprus. Yes, parents are getting older, and you need some a change in pace. So I moved to Cyprus, and I worked at a at a hedge fund.
Okay.
It was a high frequency hedge fund, so it had nothing to do in details to what I was doing in my previous jobs, but it's all about processes.
Okay.
And
Okay.
goes back to chemical engineering.
Yeah,
Chemical
yeah.
engineering is about processes,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's about building a process, how you can take a big problem and chop it into pieces.
Okay.
So there I was, again, raising my hand, taking all opportunities. So I managed everything from like the research department to the fund accounting to product development to project management to then I left as the I think I was like managing director.
Okay.
And that got me to 2019 when I was hired by XM. Initially as the chief commercial officer, then as the COO, and as of 2.5 years ago as the co-CEO.
Okay. So essentially what Stavri was doing was spotting the right opportunity and raising her hand.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Even things that would mean that it will take more time for you. It will take time out of other things. Raise your hand.
Okay.
And don't be afraid about failures.
Okay.
Raise your hand.
So in fact, you have answered the last question I was about to share with you. What would you advise young, ambitious people? So
yes.
Stavri's advice is raise your hand.
Raise your hand.
Okay, great.
Don't be afraid of don't be afraid to step outside of your comfort zone.
Okay, great. So I think it's time for me to share with our audience why Stavri is here. So Stavri, you're a customer of Great Place to Work. You have been in Cyprus's Best Workplace list 3 times. First position in the big company category. I'm trying to get everything right because it's so many things. You got the first position, big companies, in our new scheme, Best Workplaces for Women, which aligns with what you were saying before. And you made it 2 times in the Europe's Best Workplaces list. And this year, you are getting an even more important recognition. You will be one of Fortune's 100 best companies to work for in Europe. So anybody who decides to find out what are the best companies to work for in the entire of Europe, out of thousands of companies that have been certified, XM of Cyprus will be there. So how does it feel?
We are beyond proud of the recognition, and it's all of hard work. It's all of hard work to not just show that you care about the employees, but the employees feeling that you care about them and you're giving them all that they need to excel, to enjoy their work, to wake up every day and be happy to coming to work. And so we're beyond proud. It's a lot of effort that our people and culture team does on a daily basis, and kind of go into a couple of the things that we do.
I'd love you to do so.
So it starts from like the onboarding. When we onboard new employees, we put focus on we tip them up with a buddy so they have somebody to talk to and find out about things. We are formalizing, and it's continuously growing, our learning and development program. It includes things like the team building that your company helped run a few. They're so, they were just amazing in getting people to work together and learn to work together, and they were amazing. To giving them opportunities to attend conferences, attend trainings globally, not just here in Cyprus, and then we move on to the events. We try to do a lot of events throughout the year. And then, yes, it's, I sometimes I joke, like we try to, we work hard, we like to party hard, but that's not it. It's about getting together and just celebrating things. Every moment is just giving back to people. And then it goes also to our team, our managers, our team leaders. I have an open door policy. Anybody from like the junior developer to, they can just come and talk to me about anything. And sometimes I will go and I'll walk around and say, hey, what are you working on? just to make sure that it's a safe environment
Yeah.
for them to ask questions, to not to be afraid about taking chances, and knowing that we have their back.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Stavri, I think we know pretty well your culture, but I have a challenging statement for you to comment on. There are people who wrongly claim that, okay, fintech companies are very profitable, they make a lot of money, so because they make a lot of money, they can give attractive salaries and probably do nice parties, and that's how they get their people engaged. Well, we know that's not the case, but I would like you to comment and answer to that response.
That is
to it.
absolutely, that's like, that couldn't be,
Okay.
as far, away from the truth. Salaries may attract somebody, you advertise them, you attract somebody, but retaining them and keeping them year upon year, it's that salaries they're a factor, but that's not a deciding factor. That's not what's going to keep employees. Every year we have our annual town hall, and in the town hall it's more like a product day. We have a lovely, amazing keynote speaker, and then we focus on what's coming for what we'll be releasing over the next year. And in that event, we also celebrate the people who've been with us for 10 years.
Yeah.
This year we have 30 people who've been with us for 10 years.
Okay.
The list is growing.
Okay.
We also have a rewards for recognition for the 5-year people.
Okay.
That's also growing.
Okay.
When you have people that stay with a company for 5-10 years, it tells you that it's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, it's not the money. That's
Yeah.
not what it's like. At some point, people, you need fulfillment. You
Yeah.
need to enjoy your work.
Yeah. And I suppose that town hall meetings is part of a policy that you want to make sure that everybody has a pretty good idea what the big picture is and what are the developments that are driving the company. Okay, Stavri, I mean, you've had a kind of financial background, okay? So, how do you think financial performance is related to employee engagement? Because sometimes we hear leaders that they claim, well, I mean, there's not much you can do, and the key objective is to get the numbers right. And these things about employee engagement are kind of soft things that don't really matter. So what is your...
I have some very strong beliefs about that.
All right, shoot.
Because the soft skills and emotional EQ are very important.
Okay.
And they have results.
Okay.
It's employees who are in a safe environment, who have empathetic managers, who are not afraid to voice their opinions, who are, because they're not going to get yelled at. If they are quiet and they go into a meeting room and there's not like shouting and they can get their point across, they're more productive. And more productive employees means better performance for the company.
Yeah.
And I mean, and I'm not just saying it, there's research on that.
Yeah.
That it's like the soft skills that we underestimate, because people are not machines.
Yeah.
They're not, you're not just going down a conveyor belt and if I'm just going to push and I'm going to get more stuff. People need to feel that they are being appreciated.
Yeah. I mean, we really agree on that, but it's better if people hear it from the business side and from people who have had an engineering and finance background. You were never in social sciences, and yet you can see the correlation between how people feel and at the end of the day, the P&L of the company. How many generations? How many different generations does XM employ? I guess you don't have the privilege of having anybody who is a baby boomer like me.
Unfortunately, we do not. Most of our employees are millennials and Gen Zs.
Okay, so there might be a bit of a challenge, but not as much if you had baby boomers and X generation and millennials and generations.
Yes.
But Tell us a few things about Gen Z, because sometimes
Yeah.
we hear leaders
Yeah.
that they say
Yeah.
it's a big challenge. Oh, they are not that, they are not that, they are not that. Basically, moaning, leaders moaning about Gen Z. So you have plenty. Tell us about
Yes,
them.
I think Gen Zs they are a very exciting generation, and I read somewhere that they will be bigger than the baby boomers
Yeah,
in size,
yeah, yeah,
and and in like, and they will. I mean,
yeah,
they are the ones who are gonna drive our society forward.
yeah,
They have strong opinions, and I respect them a lot. They care about where they work. They care that the company that they work at does have a social awareness.
yeah,
Does is they're not just in for make money. So
yeah.
they care a lot about that. They also like to have meaning in their work, which I think
Okay.
is, I mean, it's everybody should want
Have meaning.
to
Yeah,
have meaning in their work. A lot of times when, I mean, I'll take it to development because we're a fintech company,
yeah,
so
yeah,
development
yeah,
is what we do. And we have, I mean, we have two cases. We have case one where somebody just writes a Jira task and saying, do this, and then you get something that is subpar and it doesn't
yeah,
work. Then you have we need to do this for this reason, and this is
yeah,
going to help us. It's going to help our clients do this. It's
yeah,
gonna,
yeah,
and then you get an excellent product.
yeah.
So actually, those are things that I'm glad that the Gen Zs are demanding it, because it's also forcing us to change
Yeah.
how we work.
Yeah, yeah. Well, in fact, Harvard Business School had done a research using a lot of our data or Great Place to Work data, um, searching to find answers what drives Gen Z. And one of the key factors is purpose and meaning. Gen Z, they want a purpose-driven organization. And you're absolutely right. I mean, our generation would do things even without being told the why, because we felt we had to, because we felt we were loyal. But you're absolutely right. Generation Z wants to be told the why of things, if it has to do things.
Gen X was like that as well. I'm a
Yeah,
Gen X. It was also
yeah,
like follow the rules.
yeah,
I was always
yeah.
a rule breaker, so maybe that's why
Okay.
it's like I'm actually embracing this the newer generations who are
Yeah.
actually will say if something is not right,
Okay, okay.
and they will have like a moral compass in the work that they do. They make sure that it's like is this meaningful? Is what my company is doing meaningful?
Okay. I mean, there are leaders that claim that Gen Z are not loyal and they are impatient. And in fact, the thing about patience, they keep up on saying it. So, what's your comment on that?
It's something that in impatient, yes,
Yeah.
they see the end goal and they want to get there as fast as possible.
yeah.
But it's on us and the managers to help them, guide and give them and educate them and show them that it's like if you take a lot of risks, you will
Yeah,
fail.
yeah,
Sometimes it's
yeah,
okay to
yeah,
fail.
yeah, yeah.
And not and it doesn't it's
Yeah.
and it's a good
Yeah.
it's a good learning lesson. Of course it does. It comes a lot when we do recruitment. It comes up a lot when we do promotions. People they want to be promoted, boom, 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 boom. So what you can do is you just said you need to, if you do XYZ, then it doesn't matter if you reach that in 6 months
Yeah.
or in 2 years.
Okay, and perhaps there's another perspective. Maybe impatience or being impatient is lots of energy. So it's up to the organizations to direct that kind of energy that implies that they want things to move fast. To direct that energy to positive things about the business. Okay, the business environment is changing all the time. Technology has changed the way we work since COVID, and now AI is at our doorstep, and many things will change. How do you see these developments affecting the workplace culture and the workplace culture in organizations, and how does XM perceive?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, AI is the hot topic, and I mean, we've had AI for decades.
Yeah.
But it's the LLMs that and ChatGPT
Yeah,
specifically, that
yeah,
actually brought to the surface
yeah.
what else you can do with AI. So for us, it's a there's so many ways to use AI for good.
Okay.
For so the employees are more efficient. So the
Okay.
employees are better at their work. Not to replace them, but they are better at their work. And there's a couple of things that we are of course automating very mundane work that nobody wants to do anyway. People are spending a lot of time doing, and they're not, and it takes away from them thinking on more strategic things or the bigger picture. So when you actually help them with automations, then it makes things much
Yeah, yeah.
much it makes them more efficient. I'm not gonna go into our applications in our business, so we'll just talk about
Okay.
our employees and how they use it. The other things that we've looked at, and I don't recall the two programs, but there are a couple of tools that are development tools that
Okay.
can actually help the developers write better code.
Okay.
There's a lot of research on that, and we've actually done it in-house as well. And what those tools do is they will not make a mediocre developer become great, or they will not write code on their own.
Yeah.
But it will make a good developer better.
Okay.
What we also found is that it helps again with the general code, but when you go to very specialist code that only a senior developer can write, the delta that they provide is very minimal.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
again, it's about there's all of these tools and that AI that we use AI for so that we are better at our work.
Yeah.
We want to get more output out of our workforce,
Yep.
not to reduce our workforce to get the same
Okay.
output.
Okay. And one can claim that because of AI, probably will put emphasis on other things that maybe sometimes were ignored, like the EQ of things and the empathy of things. So it may force us to start looking more seriously at the so-called soft skills and emotional intelligence. And I think soft skills is a very bad word, in fact. Yeah, I mean, soft skills. I don't know whoever invented this word, soft skills, although they are core and strategic skills. Yeah.
They're course, yeah, they're the soft. I mean, the technical skills are. I mean, you go to school and you're taught how to do something,
Yeah.
but how you lead somebody to do that and how you manage it. I mean, yes, they don't really teach you
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, business school does, but not to
Yeah.
the extent. So soft skills but it's crucial to getting
Yeah.
things done.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's and will AI that actually will make it even more important
Yeah,
that
that's
these
precisely
soft
the point.
skills are that it's, I mean, you're human. I mean, maybe in like 20 years, I don't know, maybe like the robots like have empathy and
Yeah.
and soft skills, but that's something that maybe it will differentiate
Yeah.
a good company from a great company.
Okay. What would you advise a CEO, a business leader, who is taking over at this point in time? And let's make it more specific in our environment, in our market. Okay, I know that XM is based in Cyprus, it's a Cypriot company, but it's a global company.
Yes.
Nevertheless, what would you advise a young business leader, a CEO, who is taking over a company?
Try to understand the operations.
Okay.
That's the number one thing. Baseline, understand the operations. So when people talk to you, you understand what they're talking about. The one thing that I did, and actually we're gonna start it again, is I just set up breakfast with the CEO.
Okay.
So we'll have meetings, not with the executives of the departments, but with the teams. I say,
Okay.
okay, I'm
Okay.
here for you. Tell me what your problems are. And it actually, there were some things that we were aware of, we had to
Yeah.
resolve, but there were some things that we were never aware of.
Yeah.
And it helped bring a lot of change, and it's something, again, people, you want people to feel like you're
Listening.
you're listening,
Yeah.
and you understand them. So I
Okay.
highly recommend those.
So, a new leader has to know the operations,
Absolutely.
has to know the nuts and bolts. He or she should be a good listener and set up the mechanism processes to do that listening.
And communicate the strategy.
Okay.
Communicate
The
where
big
are we
picture.
going, what are we doing, why are we doing this.
Okay.
And that's very important. And we don't, of course, when you run a big company, you sometimes you forget to do it as frequently as you
Yeah.
should.
Yeah.
And so that's something that you need to always keep reminding yourself. We need to do that.
Yeah.
It takes
Yeah.
time. It takes effort. That you think, oh, but preparing a presentation about this or writing notes about this, when I could be deciding about this or deciding about that. No, and of course a good leader. You need to surround yourself with
Good.
great managers,
Okay.
because I was listening to a podcast a couple of months ago with the CEO of Microsoft, and it said that if you as the leader is find that you are the one who's making the decisions,
Yeah.
you need to
You should go home.
you need, yes, yeah, that's
You
no,
should
you
go
need to
home.
have people that make the decisions.
Yeah, well, I mean,
It's
sometimes
not that
it's,
easy.
yeah, it is
Absolutely not
not.
that
It is
easy.
not. In fact, this is one of the challenges we need to kind of address when we do leadership development for companies, because um, it is as if leaders have grown up believing that if they do not make the decisions themselves, their value,
Yes.
suffers and is compromised. Whereas if you have a good team of people and they take an active part in the decision making, and you are prepared to listen to them and disagree, then definitely decisions will be better.
We need to empower the people to make decisions,
Yeah,
but yes, of course, be there
yeah,
to navigate, if
yeah.
to help them get to the decision. But definitely, you need to be empowering people.
Stavri, I started this podcast saying that I am truly honored to have you here as the co-CEO of XM. Um, I think you're doing an excellent job in XM. I think that you have managed to create an unbelievable culture, and your listing in the Fortune 100 best companies to work for in Europe is extremely
We're so
commendable. Well
proud of
done
that.
to you,
Thank
and
you.
thank you for being here, and thank you for your very inspiring comments. And I confess something to you. You came across quite different from the when I meet you socially. Very powerful, very dynamic, very um, yeah.
Well,
You,
again, thank you so much for thank you so
yeah,
much for having me. Again, it's such an honor, and it's the teamwork, and it's
yeah,
great that all of the efforts that we do are the right ones.
yeah, yeah. Great. Thank you, Stavri. Thank
Thank you.
you.